What's up, guys? It's Bias Sports with another biased take. 2024 fantasy football rankings. Who are you taking number one? I definitely think I'm not going Justin Jefferson. I know he's in the picture here, and I know he puts up amazing stats every year. He gets a lot of balls. He's going to get a lot of catches this year. They don't even have a running back anymore. They're just going to throw the ball, but can't go him number one. Christian McCaffrey, can't go him number one. There's too many weapons in that offense. There's too many other guys that get the ball, And he's also kind of an injury guy, but I believe that they'll lessen the load on him this year some and have more of a trio rotation because they're going to want to keep him fresh for the playoffs. They're going to try to compete in the playoffs this year. And then also we have Tyreek Hill. That's a real possibility. Tyreek Hill could be a great number one option. He's amazing, and he puts stats up. If Tua can stay healthy and deliver him the ball, we all know he's chasing that 2,000-yard season, and if he gets it, he'd definitely be worth a number one pick. Breece Hall, I don't think he's worth the number one pick. No. Bijan Robinson, I think he's definitely worth a number one pick, and you should definitely consider drafting him number one. They got rid of Cordell Patterson. They still have the other running back there, but they're definitely, with the new coach staff, new offensive linemen drafted, all that, they're going to focus more on Bijan Robinson. They're going to focus more on giving him the ball, which they should have done last year, but I guess they wanted to take it slow. Next, we have CeeDee Lamb. Personally, he's not even worth talking about first-round pick. To me, neither is Kyron Williams. I don't see either of them or Amon St. Brown getting the production needed to be a number one pick or close to that. I believe the last two guys on the list, they definitely have potential to be a number one pick, and it would be acceptable to draft them number one. Jamar Gibbs, he can do everything. He can catch, he can run, he's fast. It just depends on the amount of carries they give him and how many carries they're going to give David Montgomery, which I see Jamar Gibbs definitely taking more carries this year than he did last year, and them just using David Montgomery in the bruiser role. We also have Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase really could be a number one pick. You just need Joe Burrow to stay healthy, and it all depends on that, really. Jamar Chase can put up stats, and if T. Higgins decides to hold out, he'll put up even bigger stats. He'll put up even bigger yards. And if T. Higgins decides to play, then we'll see what happens with that, if that'll help or that'll hinder him. I think it would also help him as well as long as Joe Burrow's healthy, because he'll get, to be one-on-one. All right, so next I'm going to talk about the quarterbacks and show you the quarterback rankings. On to that. So here we have the quarterback list. Right away, you see Josh Allen's on top. I agree. To me, Josh Allen, he's going to have to do it all this year, so I think he'll put up a lot of more rushing yards and rushing TDs than we've seen before. And he has a pretty good receiver in Keon Coleman, and he's got some other little receivers. I believe they might make a trade for a receiver or find a way to sign a veteran that gets released or something and really help Josh Allen out. But Josh Allen, he's a hero type of guy. He's going to try to win the game and have all the stats and lead his team to victory. Another few guys I really like on here, Patrick Mahomes, of course, at 4. That should be criminal. He got some new receivers. I just see him, it's Patrick Mahomes. He should definitely probably be 1 on here. And Josh Allen, too, even though Josh Allen's more of a stat guy, just because he's Patrick Mahomes and with some receivers, man, he could really be deadly. And he's got Hollywood Brown, who's just kind of like a Tyreek Hill. I mean, a Walmart Tyreek Hill. Jalen Hurts, I think he's way too high. He's got great receivers, great weapons, but come on, that's ridiculous. He puts up stats, but they had a terrible year last year. Next, you got Lamar. I don't believe in Lamar. Lamar does not put up good passing yards per game, and Lamar is not going to run that much now with Derrick Henry. I don't know why they have him so high. Anthony Richardson, I don't know why he's so high either. He was a rookie last year. And he can put up stats, but he's really a boomer bust guy. If you want to draft a boomer bust guy, go after Anthony Richardson. He will either make or break your fantasy draft, your fantasy season, because he could either have a bunch of rushing yards, touchdowns, and passing touchdowns, or he could get hurt the second game like he did last year because of his style of play. Next, we have C.J. Stroud. I also believe C.J. Stroud should be higher. He should definitely be above Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. He has just as good as receivers, and I think they throw the ball more in those offenses, and he puts up a lot of stats. I believe he'll have a top 3 year this year, and I think that he'd be a good, really safe fantasy quarterback pick to pick. Okay, next we have Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow stays healthy, he could be the number 1 quarterback also. But you have Joe Burrow down here because he can't stay healthy. And, that's the problem. But Joe Burrow, we all know what he can do. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's got good receivers. Joe Burrow, if you could stay healthy, you could be the best quarterback. I'll skip these other 2 guys. To me, they're irrelevant. Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray. Oh, I'll say this about Kyler Murray. He could get you a lot of stats, but he has to stay healthy behind that bad line and lack of weapons. So I wouldn't do that. And then Dak Prescott, he's a stat guy, but he's not consistent in his play. So when you need him in those big games in the playoffs and late in the season, he might disappear and you might lose, your season for that. Jordan, I got 2 more guys I'm going to talk about. Jordan Love and also Tua. Those guys could have a big year. Jordan Love, we all know what he can do. We saw him develop, and he could be the next great Green Bay Packer quarterback. And Tua, it's criminal how far they have him down on the list. He's got Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill go for 2,000 yards. He's got Jalen Waddle. They should definitely put him higher on the list. It's just ridiculous. Also, one extra guy, Jaden McDaniels. He could easily have a lot of stats and he's definitely a boomer bust guy. I would go him number 1 on my boomer bust list, and he could really win you a championship this year. All right, next up we got running backs. I won't talk about McCaffrey and Breece Hall. I already talked about them, and Bijan Robinson. So we'll start at Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor could, be a leading back, could be the number 1 back with Anthony Richardson. They could lean a lot on the run game, and I think he would be a very solid pick. I think he'll stay healthy this year, and I think he'll have a phenomenal year. Saquon Barkley, that's Mr. Injury. I would stay away from him. He could have an amazing year just because the Giants are just that unlucky, and he could stay healthy all year and beat them twice, but I just don't believe in it, I just don't believe it. He's Mr. Injury to me. I already talked about Gibbs. Kyron Williams had a great year last year. He could really lead that offense. To me, they like to pass too much for him to be a super, super effective running back, like stat-wise. So, but he could definitely have a good year. I think he's rated where he should be. Another guy, Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco's great. He should have a great year, and they still haven't really brought in a decent backup behind him. So he should get all the carries, get a lot of the touches as long as he stays healthy. He does run super, super hard, so there's possibilities of him getting injured. But we know that he should always get easy boxes to run through because the box is not going to be stacked when you have Patrick Mahomes back there. I believe he could be a top 5 running back. I would definitely draft him over like a Saquon Barkley or the guy behind him, a Travis Etienne. I think the Jaguars probably struggle this year, and I would kind of stay away from Travis Etienne. I think seem like they're going in the wrong direction, that team. So I think I would just stay away from him. Derrick Henry. I'm intrigued by Derrick Henry because I believe he could have like 25 touchdowns this year because he could be their short yard guy. They could run him and Lamar in the read option is going to be deadly. So he should be able to get, easier runs. And if they can get their passing game going so that they won't get the box stack, then, man, he could really have an amazing year and he could finish the top fantasy running back. All right, next on the list, we got 2 guys, Kamara, and we got Rashad White. Kamara, good luck. He's boomer bust, and the last few years, his stat production has gone down each of the last 4 years. So why would you want him? He's a declining running back. I would consider someone else. Rashad White, I would stay away. They had the worst running game last year, and he's not that good. He's good, but he's not that good for that position. A few guys I would draft above him, James Cook. They're going to need a lot of him in Buffalo this year with Diggs gone. And Josh Jacobs, can't go wrong with him. Devin Achane, everybody's seen how he performed last year. He should be higher. He definitely should be higher. He'll get a lot of carries this year. He just gets injured because he's small, but I think he'll be all right. Aaron Jones, he's going to get a lot of touches, so I would have him in my top 10, definitely above Alvin Kamara. I think he'll have a better year than him. Kenneth Walker should have a better year than Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon. Even James Cook, I believe. I don't know why he's down so low. They run the ball in Seattle, and they'll run the ball more with him. He's a great back. They should have him higher. And Josh Jacobs, we all know what Josh Jacobs can do. That he's not in the top 5 just off his production the last few years is just disrespectful. And Josh Jacobs definitely should be in the top 5. And he'll probably finish a top 5 running back up there in Green Bay because they have a great quarterback that's going to open up the run game, and he's going to have running holes that he hasn't seen in a while. He had a lot of stacked boxes in Oakland, and he still performed. And they have a better line in Green Bay than he ever had in Las Vegas. So I believe that he'll do good, and he'll have a great year. As for the rest of these guys, I would say David Montgomery's always a good second-tier running back option. Zamir White's taken over in Las Vegas. He should get a lot of carries since he's the main guy there now. That would be a good pick. I would stay away from anyone in Carolina. I think that they're just a horrible team, and just stay away from them. Next up, receivers. All right, we have receivers. We already talked about the top 3. It's really disrespectful that they have CD above Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase over Tyreek Hill, especially Tyreek and Justin Jefferson. Their stats speak alone, even Puka. So that's just criminal. But we'll start at 4, Amon St. Brown. I think he'll have a good year. I don't think he'll have the 4th best player year. He's a great receiver, but they have pretty decent weapons around him, and I believe they'll use Gibbs more. They like to run the ball. They drafted some receivers. Jameson Williams might come on. I believe he should be lower. Same with A.J. Brown. He has to share, with Devontae Smith. So you always want those guys that are going to get a lot of catches. They're the only option, number one option, like a Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson should be higher. He could be a top 3 guy because New York doesn't really have any other big-name receivers, any other proven receivers, really. So if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, he should get all the passes. Same with Devontae Adams. He's their best receiver by far. He gets 1 million targets. To me, that's what you're looking for. And he should have a great year if the quarterback can be even remotely okay. And he should get 10, 15 targets a game and hopefully have some stats. I'd probably stay away from him because I don't believe in the quarterbacks and his age, but he's definitely a boomer bust guy. You got Puka. To me, Puka's a great option. He's definitely going to be a top 5 receiver this year because Cooper Kupp's getting older, so Cooper Kupp's just good enough to the defense will respect him, but everybody knows Puka's the number 1 option now, so Puka should get plenty open looks. And I think he'll have a great year. Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback to be thrown to him. We got Chris Olave. This is definitely boomer bust. Derek Carr's a pretty bad quarterback, and that team is they're pretty decent. He's definitely their main guy. I like Chris Olave, honestly. I think he could have a decent year. I think 10's a good spot for him. You just can't trust Derek Carr in that offensive line and to get him the ball a lot, for him to have a great, great year. Next, you got Michael Pittman. I would stay away from this guy. I don't believe in Anthony C. Richardson is a good passer, so I believe he'll run the ball a lot. So I would definitely draft someone else besides him, because he's just not the guy. Mike Evans, he's had 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. This is the safest pick out of all the receivers. You know he's going to give you 1,000 yards, and he'll have that again this year. He'll have his regular 8 to 10 touchdowns. Should draft Mike Evans. If you just want a safe pick in the 3rd round, 4th round, it'll get you your stats. Next guy, Marvin Harrison Jr., definitely more boomer bust, but he's pretty amazing, all the highlights we see, and he'll definitely be the number 1 option right away. I would draft him, but I know guys are going to reach for him early. He's a big name, so you got to be careful with that, and don't get too excited over his name, So just be careful. Then next we have DK Metcalf. You see he's down on the list. To me, he should be way higher. It's DK, and he's proven he's a great receiver. He gets a lot of stats. He gets a lot of yards. And this year should really be no different for him. 2 more guys to keep your eye on. They actually are linked to each other. We got Stephon Diggs. You see they got him way down the list in the 20s. He should get a lot of balls and be the veteran receiver in the Texans. I think he'll definitely have over 1,000 yards, and he'll definitely have 8 to 10 touchdowns, because that quarterback CJ Stroud is special, and CJ Stroud will figure out how to manage his ego for a year or two to benefit the team. The other guy is Keon Coleman, the rookie. Watch out for Keon Coleman. He's going to get a lot of balls in Buffalo, and Josh Allen, I think, is going to love him. You see he's got a big personality. He should put up big stats. He can jump real high. He's not the fastest runner, but I think he'll get the job done. I think he'll have over 1,000 yards and 10 TDs. His rookie year, he has to. He's their number 1 receiver. So next, we got the tight ends. Now for the tight ends, there's no surprise who's at number 1. Taylor Swift, a.k.a. Travis Kelce. We all know, he's the best tight end in football. He gets the most passes. He gets the most yards. He's a big target. This year, though, I don't think that'll be the case. I think they'll try to rest him some. They got some other weapons they brought in, so they're going to try to kind of keep him fresher, maybe not use him as much, so that he'll be ready for the playoffs, because we know he'll kind of be more in like a Gronk role, how they had Gronk towards the end of his career. They just wanted Gronk ready for the playoffs. They wanted to make sure Gronk was ready for the big games, I think they'll do that. Sam Laporta, I think he'll have the best year this year. He's a monster, and Detroit, he's kind of like their second, number 2 receiver, and Jared Goff loves throwing him the ball. I think he'll definitely have the best year, and he'll put up 10, 12 touchdowns, close to 1,000 yards, if not 1,000 yards. Probably over 1,000 if he's going to be the best tight end this year. Next, we have Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews looking for a bounce-back year after tearing his ACL. This is a great pick because you know that Lamar throws to him a lot, and they have a lot of small little receivers. Zay Flowers is coming along, but I would definitely draft him, and I think 3 is a good spot for him. All right, next we have Trey McBride. Trey McBride really could have a big year because in Arizona, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., and then they have him. He's the number 2 guy. I believe that he's a security blanket for Kyler Murray, and I believe his year will be he will have a really good year, or he would have a bad year if Kyler Murray gets hurt. You always got to think about that. I wouldn't draft him super early. Next, we have Evan Ingram. I would stay away from Evan Ingram. I just have a bad feeling about Jacksonville this year, and I just don't think Jacksonville will have that good of a year. And I think that Trevor Lawrence might get hurt, or he might just take a step back. So stay away from Evan Ingram. Dalton Kincaid. Now this is a sleeper pick right here. You can get Dalton Kincaid later. People kind of forget about him. Now they only have Keon Coleman out in Buffalo, and Dalton Kincaid. So he should get a lot of passes. He should get number one type tight end, like number one overall type tight end numbers and passes. It's just if he's going to make them, pay, going to catch them, going to get right. So he could definitely be the best tight end in football this year, boom or bust. I think you should draft him. I would say 4th, 5th round. And I would draft him. He's probably, to me, my second favorite tight end behind Laporta this year. And, yeah, he's just going to get a lot of targets. That's what I look for, targets and possessions. That's what wins you games. That's what gets you, the money. Next, we have Kittle. Stay away from Kittle. He's old. He gets injured. They have a lot of weapons. And seems like they're kind of phasing him out of the offense. Njoku's next. Stay away from him too, I would say. Unless the quarterback's going to be Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson just has regressed, and they really don't throw the ball that much with him. He doesn't throw for a lot, and they really use Nick Chubb a lot more. Next, we have Kyle Pitts. And, Kirk Cousins might use him, hopefully. This is definitely a boomer bust pick. I would draft him, but I would have to draft him after the 5th, 6th round. I would really have to. I would be scared because he seems like could be the most amazing tight end, but we just haven't seen the production from him yet in his career. Next, we have Jake Ferguson, and I think this guy put up pretty good numbers. Dak loves throwing to tight ends. Dak loves throwing his number one tight end. So I think that, to me, he's a safer pick than Kyle Pitts. I like him more than Kittle. I like him more than Njoku. I think that's a safer pick. Dak throws to his tight ends. Dallas Goedert, come on. Really? Still? I haven't seen Dallas Goedert really do too much in a couple years. I don't know why he's so high on the list. That's silly. TJ Hawkinson, man, I think that rookie quarterback or Sam Darnold, whoever, they'll throw him the ball a lot because he's a security blanket, and then they got Justin Jefferson. I really think he gets a lot of passes. He definitely should be higher on the list. Definitely above Dallas Goedert. Brock Bowers, boomer bust. We all know Brock Bowers' resume. We saw how amazing he was in college. He could go out in Oakland and be the number 2 guy behind Devontae Adams and get a lot of passes, but I don't think so because of the quarterback situation. You just got to kind of stay away. Same with this guy right here, Pat Freiermuth. The quarterback situation got a lot better, but I feel like that they won't throw as much with Russ. I think they're going to run more play-action offense and kind of get that running game, more to that Seattle-style offense he ran where the running game really controlled everything and they didn't pass as much. Dalton Schultz, always a good option because he's quarterback and he gets passes. I'll give 2 more guys that I think could have a good year. Cade Otton, he's way down on the list. In Tampa, they kind of need him to step up. And, Baker likes throwing his tight ends. So I think he could do good. Another guy you got, this is a sleeper guy. Luke Musgrave, he's the tight end in Green Bay. Green Bay's been waiting for a tight end to break out. You also got Tucker Kraft, but he's hurt right now. One of those guys is going to break out for Green Bay. They throw the ball to their tight ends. So look for him. Taysom Hill's always a pretty safe pick at tight end because he gets those weird stats. So at the end of the year, he'll have some pretty decent points for you. But that's my 2024 rankings, going over the rankings I saw on ESPN. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Bias Sports with another biased take. Thank you for watching.